It defaults to being muted.
Some kind of audio, but I'm not
there we
it,
go.
so kind of...
Okay, yeah. It defaults to being muted, so I'm assuming people can in fact hear me. And if you can't, go down to the bottom of the player to and like a speaker button thing will be there, and it'll be X'd out by default. And that's what you need to fix, like I just needed to fix. So thank you so much for joining me for this Curious Odyssey Steam event stream, special stream. And I'm here because I made a game called the Crimson Diamond, which is actually, it's on sale for this event. It's 25% off. And I did have a bit of a Curious Odyssey when it came to making the Crimson Diamond. And I'll talk about that, I guess, a little bit before I show a little bit of the game. And then I will also show a little bit of my next project. And actually, you're seeing behind me some of that project now, in fact. Let's see. And I'm hoping people can hear and see and all the rest of that good stuff. But yeah, my start as a game developer, I didn't go to school for it. I didn't go to school for that, or even computer programming, which I know is a pretty common way that people get into it. I started as an artist and sort of taught myself slowly the skills that I would need to become a game developer. And that's how I got started. So it was a kind of real roundabout type of way of getting about it. But I will say that it was probably the best way for me to go about it. Not having a lot of programming experience, I had the benefit of Adventure Game Studio, which is an awesome engine that a lot of people use. Most recently, Meredith Gran, who made Perfect Heights 2 Station to Station, which just won an IGF award at GDC. She used Adventure Game Studio as well to make her game. Francisco Gonzalez has used it for Rosewater. And who else? Oh yeah, of course, Dave Gilbert, Wajidai Games, publishes a lot of games with Adventure Game Studio. And yeah, lots of people. So that was really a good start for me, and then that's what I used to build the Crimson Diamond. And yeah, why don't I show some of it right now? I'm gonna probably be streaming for 2 hours, maybe a little bit less, depending on how fast to go with this. This is also meant to be a Q&A. I'm gonna try not to spoil anything about the game in case you haven't actually played the game. But if you have questions about the game or questions like specific things about the game, like this is definitely the time to ask. Although there is a bit of a delay on this chat. When you set up a Steam stream chat, they recommend a 6 to 10 second delay to kind of even out the buffering for the video. And that's what it's set out right now because I don't want to mess with the recommended settings. But if you do have a question, it might take me 6 to 10 seconds before I see it and or answer it. So let's get into the Crimson Diamond, which is right here. And yeah, I did most of this game. I didn't do the music, but I did just about everything else. I did write it, I did design it, I programmed it, I did the art and animation for it. I designed the fonts that you see there. I designed the logo, I designed the key art. But yeah, I didn't do the music, and I didn't port the game to Mac because the game is available on Mac as well. I did not, like, obviously didn't just test the game myself. I had lots of people helping me with that. And I didn't cut the trailers for the game either. So, plenty of things I didn't do, but plenty of things I did. I'm going to show some parts of the game. I'm going to show the tutorial, I think, because I'd like to hope that maybe people, if you're just discovering my game and during the Steam event, this is not how I wanted to show this, actually. Because I'm actually going to do a Steam overlay about this. Hold on. I'm actually going to do a Steam overlay for this later to do a rebroadcast after the fact. Like, you guys are seeing it live right now, but for the people that are going to be watching this later, this will be rebroadcast on loop. And so I just need to do that. I'm just going to do that. No, that's not what I wanted. So I can easily like do an overlay that says not in fact live. Right. So I'm going to put this over here, over my face. And I've got another small version of my face to put up while we do this. There we go. Perfect. It's like nothing happened. Okay. I'm going to show this for a little bit, and then, oh yeah, you can also still see me. There we go. I'm going to play some of this. I'll show you some of the things to do with it. It is a text parser adventure game, which is it's an oldie. It's an old way of playing stuff, but I actually really love this interface. I actually there is John Ingold recently published this compendium of narrative designer essays, and I got to contribute to that. It's called a Kaleidoscope. And it's available for sale now. I don't have a link to it. I don't know if I could even post links, but there is a link for it. You can find that probably to do like on John Ingold's site / Blue Sky or something. But the essay that I wrote was why I love text parsers so much. And I do. And that's why this game is a text parser. But I know that not a lot of people might be familiar with playing text parser games nowadays, which is why we have a tutorial. So I'm going to quickly show some of the tutorial. I will show some of the game, and then I will show what I've been working on, what I will be coming out with next, now that the Crimson Diamond's been out for almost 2 years. Okay, so let's get into it. So here's the tutorial. Welcome to the tutorial room. My name's Nancy Maple. And yeah, I want to make sure that people can learn the ropes of a text parser game. If you want to skip this completely, like when you do start the game, when you start a new game, you get this intro sequence, and then you also get a little bit of tutorialization. There's this option, I don't know if you saw that on the title screen, to turn on or off the tutorial boxes. So there are some tutorials that are actually built into the game that aren't part of this actual tutorial room. And also, if you get stuck in the game, there's like a hyperlink in the main menu that opens up a hint book. I really want people to have a good experience, whether you're familiar with this type of game or not. Here we go. I'll be showing you some of the basics of playing a text parser adventure game. Follow the text prompts at the bottom of the screen to progress through the tutorial. And yes, by the way, just if you're joining us now, I am live right now for the Curious Odyssey Steam event. This will be rebroadcast on loop later on, but you're watching it live, so if you have any questions that you would like immediate answers to, you can ask them right here in chat. When you first enter a room, it's useful to start by typing look. Just start typing on your keyboard as you normally would. All right, here we go. Look. When you type look in a room, the game will describe important features. You see a cupboard and a green door. The game will also list the other characters in that room. Jack is here. Type look Jack to learn more about him. Look man or look person will work too if you're having trouble with names. Ooh, that's loud. Ooh, that's loud. Okay, let's just go ahead. Oh, why don't we turn the music on? In fact. Let me know if you find the music too loud. There you go. This music, I mentioned Dan Pollicar composed this incredible music. He composed it on a genuine Roland MT32. And we did that live on Twitch. This was a piece that we did also compose together. Look Jack, you can do that. You can also say look at Jack or look at person. Why don't we try look at person? We're not going to follow this exactly to show you how the text parser actually does work. Look at person. I can't remember his name. Jack is a tall, lean man with a shiny bald head. He is Mr. Richards' employee and is in charge of the cooking, cleaning, gardening, and myriad other tasks the lodge might require. He's weary, but still seems to be in decent spirits. Jack is somewhere in his 40s. Jack is here to help with the tutorial. How do you do? Well, looking at characters at different points in the game may give you additional information. Try talk to Jack to see what he has to say. Here we go, talk to Jack. I'm going to say talk to man. Talk man. I'll say talk man. Hello, Jack. My name's Nancy Maple. Nice to meet you, Nancy. You can ask me about this tutorial. Type ask about tutorial. Ask Jack about tutorial or ask about tutorial will also work. And here, to me, is the magic of the text parser. You don't have like a dialogue tree, or you don't have a menu of dialogue options to like click on and exhaust. You actually have to come up with the words that you want to ask about. of course, I try to help with what you should ask about with, you know, the writing of the game, the text descriptions. Let's go ahead. Let's ask Jack. Or it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be capitalized. Ask Jack about. Helps to type too. Ask Jack about tutorial. The default movement method is click to walk, shown by the 2 footprint icon. The blue in the upper left corner of the icon indicates what that target spot is. Or you can use the arrow keys to move around the screen. You can also ask me about inventory. So here we go. The game is a point-and-click adventure game, but kind of in like the loosest sense of that term, because this is really the only way you're going to be besides like the menus, which, you know, you're going to be pointing and clicking at the menus, and pointing and clicking. You can move her like this, but honestly, most of the time when I play this game, I'm using the arrow keys. And I'm pressing and holding the arrow keys to move her around. And I like this actually. I feel like this is a more tactile way of moving her around, because when you walk up against a wall, like, you can't move anymore, you know? There's some resistance. You feel like everything is 3D. Like, I can't walk by Jack either, you know? I like that. Okay, ask about inventory. You can access your inventory by typing INV or I into the text parser. Or you can press tab. This was, I think, a pretty standard a shortcut, a keyboard shortcut, when playing games like this. Tab would open up the inventory. The cursor will change to an eye. Click the eye on the items in your inventory to look at them. And that's an issue of the Toronto Eye from a few weeks ago. Click on the gray loop icon at the bottom of the inventory window. The cursor will become a loop, which I do have, and it actually has proven very useful for a lot of reasons. It's a 30 times magnification, and you just kind of look through it one eye, and it's yeah. I've been able to appreciate my rock collection because of the increased magnification. You can examine some of your inventory items more closely using the loop. You admire the minute dots that comprise the newspaper photograph of your round-cut diamond. The natural diamond described in the article would be an octahedron, not a facet specimen. What an embarrassing inaccuracy. What's kind of fun about gem cuts, like, obviously, yeah, the diamonds don't come out of the earth looking like this type of diamond, but they do come out as a crystal shape. It's just kind of like, I think, an 8-sided shape. I forget what that's called. Oh yeah, maybe it's called an octahedron. But different kinds of gem cuts can help you identify what era, like what part of, in what the date that it was actually cut, because, you know, it's at certain times of history we didn't have access to certain tools or certain knowledge about cutting gems, because different kinds of minerals have different planes that their crystal lattice is organized by, and without that knowledge, earlier on there would be, yeah, like simpler cuts of gems. And now, you know, now into the modern era, we can do all kinds of things with gem cuts, really incredible things that just weren't possible before because of the fact that we know now what the crystal structures of these things are, and as well we have these incredible tools that we didn't have before. So I find that really useful and really cool to think of. Sometimes you can look at a piece of antique jewelry and the cut of the actual gem will tell you a lot about when it was cut and where it was cut. You can close the inventory window by pressing tab, the escape key, or enter. You can also examine objects in a room using the loop. Type examine the cupboard to learn more about it. There are keyboard shortcuts, like text parser shortcuts, that I have put into this game that you do get told about during the play of the Crimson Diamond if you have the tutorial boxes on. Also, they're available in like the help screen, which is somewhere. Where's the help screen? I forget where I put it, but yeah, there's a help screen that actually tells you a lot of these standard keyboard shortcuts in the game. As well, every character has like an abbreviated version of their name. So the characters in the game, there's Margot, Albert, Corvus, Nessa, Nathan, Kimmy, Evan, and Jack, and each of them just have a doubled up letter for their name. If you don't want to type out their entire name, it's a really nice little shortcut to do that. But also examine, you can type X for examine, and also there's a lot of cupboards in the lodge, and you can type CU for cupboard, because C on its own is for close, and open is O. We can XCU. The cupboard is made of a lovely fine-grained wood, though it's seen better days. And that's the that circular outline there is the aperture of your loop, which is a brass. There's a yellow colored loop. Most furniture won't be that interesting to examine. This is just an example. If you're not sure what to do next, you can check your notebook. Try Ask Jack About Notebook. And just another aside, this type of graphical user interface for the inventory was, if you're a fan of old Sierra adventure games, you might realize or notice that this is not how the inventory was actually done in any of the EGA games. Most of them would just show you like a list of inventory items of what you're currently carrying. But I really like the inventory icons for inventory items, which is why I decided to go with this. But if you would prefer, and actually you can see that, yeah, you do need a mouse to actually go through the inventory items this way. But if you prefer to play mostly with keyboard, or you want like a more old-fashioned looking kind of text, a text-based inventory, I do have that option. Oh yeah, if you want to open up the main menu, it's pressing escape, or you can go up here. You can select main menu. And yeah, you can see we can toggle between text-based inventory or graphical inventory. Text-based inventory here. Type L with an inventory item selected to look at it, and type E with an inventory item selected to examine it. Other interactions, such as read newspaper, must be typed into the parser, and which is the same as with the graphical inventory. So let's take a look. So that's what this looks like. And yeah, you scroll through them using the arrow keys. And for instance, if I've got the newspaper selected and I press the L, it shows you what you would get if you were to type in look for the inventory, or actually just clicking on it in the graphical inventory. And this is not exactly the way a Sierra game used to do it, but I just kind of liked it as a way to control the inventory with just the keyboard. And also just keep it kind of more old school, but not quite perfectly old school. Okay, let's ask Jack about notebook. And yeah, in the help it says Control A is a nice shortcut for populating the text parser bar with ask about. So let's just ask about notebook. If there was more than one character in this room, we would be asking everybody in the room about notebook if we just said that. If there were 2 characters in the room and you only wanted to ask Jack about the notebook for whatever reason, you would type ask Jack about notebook and it would only ask Jack. The notebook can be helpful if you get stuck. It'll tell you what you need to do next to progress through the game. And this is something that I'm sure a lot of games have done it, but the particular game that I took it from was Thimbleweed Park, which is a modern era adventure game. And I really did appreciate having that notebook, because sometimes you just have to leave a game for a little while, come back, and you might not remember necessarily what happened. Yeah, so that's what I've included the notebook for that reason. Be careful, if you simply follow the notebook's prompts, you might miss important details. The notebook will be displayed if you type Note or N. To flip through your notebook pages, click the green up and down tabs or use the arrow keys on your keyboard. Yeah. You can close the notebook by clicking the X button, the escape key, or enter. Thanks so much, Jack. You can also ask me about that cupboard over there. But before we do, why don't we just type N into the text parser, open up the notebook. Here's another example of being able to scroll through this notebook with just the arrow keys or by clicking on the arrow keys down here. You can also, of course, exit by pressing that X or just pressing escape or enter. And here we go. And to list all our objectives for this particular tutorial. Let's see. Look at Jack, talk to Jack, ask about tutorial, and get the hat. We have to get the hat. And we do have those objectives tracked. So we have looked at Jack. We got that X mark there. We've talked to Jack and we asked Jack about the tutorial. And that's all. This is all kind of like chronological order, in the order that we did it in. And some people, were thinking maybe I could have updated that line in the notebook to reflect the fact, like maybe put a check beside that line, which is a really good idea, but I don't know how to do that, so that's why it's not like that. But this is actually, in this way, when it's done chronologically like this, it actually helps a lot with like finding bugs and stuff, because it's almost like a log of what you've done, and I find that really helpful too. Okay, so let's ask Jack about cupboard. Ask about cupboard. You can open the cupboard by typing open cupboard. Sure, you can, if you type open door, it'll open the green door and not the cupboard door. So here we go. Sometimes there will be more than one cupboard, in which case you might have to walk close to the cupboard you want to open. Or sometimes you can also specify which cupboard you want, like open left cupboard or open right cupboard. Okay, open cupboard. So Open is O. We can just use O. And cupboard is abbreviated with CU. Open cupboard. You open it. Looks like there is something inside the cupboard. If you look cupboard, the game will tell you what the cupboard looks like. If you look in cupboard, the game will tell you what's inside the cupboard. Search is also the same. If you type search cupboard, it's the same as look in cupboard. Yeah, well, yeah, there you go. Search cupboard also works. Another actual thing I want to tell you guys about, if you are interested in seeing more stuff to do with the Curious Odyssey Steam events, I did an interview with Jan of adventure.tref for the event, and that's going to be airing on the event page at 4:25 p.m. on Saturday, so that's tomorrow. And so if you want to see me talk about stuff about the Crimson Diamond and its developments, and see that chat, 4:25 Eastern tomorrow, which is Saturday, is when you'll get to see that one. Let's try look at cupboard. Let's try look cupboard, or LCU. The cupboard is massive with a set of double doors with paneling. We can also L in cupboard, or we can type cupboard sometimes if we want. You see a green hat in the cupboard. Let's see what the notebook is saying. Okay. Ask inventory. Okay, look at hat. Let's look at hat. Look hat. You see a green hat in the cupboard. That's my green hat. Try take hat. Let's see, is there anything here? No, take hat. Take hat. You take the green hat. Congratulations, you've completed the tutorial. Open door to leave this tutorial. Congratulations, you're done. Yes, open the door and walk out to leave. Thanks for playing the tutorial. Hope it was helpful. This tutorial has covered the most commonly used parser commands, but there are more to discover. Feel free to experiment. Yeah. And let's see. Oh yeah, so also, yeah, okay, well, we have now green hat. You can look at the green hat in our inventory, your green felt hat. We can also examine by pressing the E button here. Your hat looks pretty good considering you got it secondhand. And let's check the notebook. Okay, and the notebook says, congratulations, you finished the tutorial. Open the door and walk to the right to leave the tutorial. And you can see that there are these like asterisk, like little star things around that particular notebook entry. And that's to tell you, in order to move on, to progress the game to the next stage of the game, that's the action you need to do. And that same holds true for when you're actually playing the game, which you will see really soon. I didn't want players to accidentally progress the game when they didn't want to do that, which happens in some adventure games, and I've never really liked that, and that's why the Crimson Diamond plays like this. So why don't we open that door? OD. If you're ready to leave the tutorial, either use the arrow key. Yes, Nancy, we know. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, you can walk through like this. You can click on the other side of that doorway, or like I do, I just like to walk through that way. And here we go. You hear the tutorial boxes I mentioned. We'll keep them on so that you can kind of see more of the tutorial stuff that I might have missed or forgotten about. But yeah, let's get into the new game. And I'll show quickly through that because it's kind of a long introduction, which from a game design standpoint was probably not the best idea. I think there's a school of thought when it comes to game design that says just get the player playing as soon as possible, and I totally didn't do that for this one. But it was my first game, so it was, I learned, there's a lot to learn about making games for sure. But yeah, let's try this. Yeah, the game is set in 1914 in Crimson, Ontario. I also stream game art development on Twitch. I stream on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. I call it Crimson Tuesdays. You can find me at _Maple_Mystery. And all this introductory art that you're seeing right now is stuff that I streamed the development of live, because I didn't really want any spoilers to happen when I was streaming in terms of what the story was going to be, because it's an adventure game. You don't want, your story is kind of the big thing, so I didn't want to spoil anything about the story. And even if you had come to my streams for the 5 years I was streaming before launch, you would not have known anything that was going to happen after Chapter 1, because I just don't show that stuff. So don't worry, if you do want to come to my streams, you won't be spoiled about story stuff. The Royal Canadian Museum, which looks a lot like the Royal Ontario Museum in Toronto, Ontario. There you are, Nancy. And this a lot of times adventure game fans they want Easter eggs in adventure games, and this is where I put all of my Easter eggs. Oh, wait. Okay, yeah, here we go. So I do have a pause, so you can pause in the middle of a cutscene. And I'm going to take this opportunity to pause the game, and we can go through some of the Easter eggs that are in this room. And some of these were kind of like user requests for Easter eggs. So let's start on the left-hand side of the wall here. The most obscure one is probably, I'll try to point with this, but it's kind of hard because it's a huge icon. But that shield you see under that leftmost window, that is one of the shields from the last half of Darkness, which was this famous shareware horror adventure game from back in the day that I remember playing, and that's why I put it there. Oh yeah, I also, not only do I stream like game art on my Twitch channel, but I also play retro adventure games, and it's been a great way for me to kind of get reacquainted with classics, but also acquainted with ones I just never heard of or played before. And it's been a really nice education of stuff that I think is really cool in those games and stuff that I don't want to repeat in my own games. But yeah, the last half of Darkness is a really cool one. And actually, someone was recently playing like last half of Darkness 4 or 5. Was Bilbo playing last half of Darkness 4 or 5 or something? It's amazing that the series continued. But of course, my favorite one is going to be the one that's EGA. And that's another thing, when I play retro adventure games on my stream, I try to like stick with stuff that's EGA. Although I do break that rule sometimes. I'll play stuff that's like other limited palettes. Like currently I'm playing an MSX game using an emulator called Karuizawa Yukai Anai, which is this mystery adventure game for that was on the MSX and multiple platforms. It's from 1986, and Yuji Horii designed it, and he's the guy who designed the Dragon Quest games, but this was before the Dragon Quest games. That kind of thing I really can't resist, because I do love a good mystery adventure game. But yeah, most of the games I play are like DOS games, and I play the DOS port of Double Dragon 1 pretty much every stream, and finish it because I just really love that game so much. I grew up with it, and I can't stop playing it, and I don't know why. But anyway, last half of Darkness. That's from that shield is from that game. Top shelf here of this bookshelf to the far left, we've got Manny Calavera's head from Grim Fandango, and I need to get back to Grim Fandango because it is beautiful, but I've actually never finished it. I got to get back to that. Beside Manny Calavera's head is the meteor from Maniac Mansion. Beside the meteor from Maniac Mansion is Murray, the skull from The Curse of Monkey Island, which is, yeah, it's a beautiful game, beautiful soundtrack. Beside Murray is a green tentacle. Beside the green tentacle is the Holy Grail Diary from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, and that's one that I'd never played back in the day, and so I played the EGA version of it, and it was hard in some parts, but it was just really cool to play and kind of exhilarating. It was really beautifully animated, and when you hear the Indiana Jones theme music in like kind of bitty-bitty kind of sound, it just brings so much joy to my heart. Second from the top shelf here, we've got the Dagger of Amon-Ra from Sierra. Beside that, we have a crystal decanter, which I don't even know if the crystal decanter in the Colonel's Book Quest looks like that, but that's a crystal decanter, because I think it's just a staple of mystery stories anyway. Beside the crystal decanter, we have a Maltese falcon, which is not only in Quest of Glory 2, but that's where I remember it from. It's also in like other Sierra games that now I can't remember. Beside the Maltese falcon, we have Sir Graham's peaked hat, and that's actually the color scheme from the EGA version of King's Quest V, which is the version that I had. Underneath that, we have got this cluster of crystals that I kind of took from Merlin's Tower from Conquest of Camelot. That's another Sierra game. Besides the crystals is this false grail from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Beside that is some like Delftware, some like blue and white ceramic dish that is actually from nothing. I just needed to fill that space, and I wanted something of like a different color. Beside that is the Schattenjager amulet from Gabriel Knight, which never was an EGA, but I'll do it. I'll do what I want. The bottom bookshelf here. This holy water you see on the far left is from Personal Nightmare, which is from Horrorsoft. That's one of the games that I never played back in the day, and I finally played it and finished it on stream after much struggling, and that was very, very rewarding because you kill the devil. Beside the holy water, there is this black cat that is a tribute to Manannan's cat from King's Quest III. And beside the cat is this weird treasure chest jewelry box that is from Mortvale Manor, which is another EGA mystery adventure game that I streamed that was hard as anything, and I just used a walkthrough. Most of the time, I resort to a walkthrough because games back then were really hard, and they didn't have a hyperlink to a hint book like the way Crimson Diamond does. We've got a mop and a bucket, which is a nice nod to Space Quest. This angel is also kind of a nod to Personal Nightmare. There's a beautiful angel statue in that. Along this wall here, these metal shelves, there's like a geode, but that's not really from anything. Some stacks of books. That's like a Grecian urn over here on the far left. But on the far right here, closest to the door, that is the idol from the Chizo Mythos by Yahtzee Croshaw. I forget what the idol is called, but there is an idol that kind of is throughout those games. And Yahtzee was one of the first AGS developers that I learned about. I was super inspired by him because he was just one person making adventure games, and that's what I wanted to be. Let's see, far left on the middle shelf here, we've got the Ark of the Covenant in this box. You kind of almost can make out like an eagle insignia on the front of that. But this is an anachronism because Indiana Jones and what's it called? Raiders of the Lost Ark was set after this game, but whatever, it's fine. Beside that is this Idol of Many Hands. That's from Secret of Monkey Island. And to the right of that is The Rise of the Dragon. Another game that I did actually play back in the day, but I never finished it. I got the opportunity and satisfaction to play and finish Rise of the Dragon by Dynamics on stream. Bottom left corner here, that is, you can just make it out. It's like a piece of a wall from an Egyptian temple or something, and it's got just a Wajidai right there. And that, of course, is a tribute to Wajidai and Dave Gilbert's games, who is another adventure game studio developer. To the right of the Wajidai is this kind of woven basket, which is the same kind of woven basket you find in the Voodoo Lady's house in the Monkey Island games. To the right of that, we have this globe, which is the globe from Colonel's Bequest. Then we just have a random box. On the far right, we have this tapestry that is from, again, Merlin's tower, office, study, whatever he has up there in the Conquest of Camelot's. Other things. So on this table, you're going to see a close-up of this table soon, and that's stuff that is mostly from Conquest of the Longbow, some gems, and that is the Civil War jewels pouch from Colonel's Bequest. So let's unpause it. Okay. Oh, you can't even see them right now. Hold on, let's see if I can catch the pause. Far up north, a fisherman found a massive diamond in the belly of a fish. Ooh! Oh, okay, no, never mind. It's all covered, actually, with the newspaper. But yeah, in the Colonel's Bequest, there's like this pouch of jewels you can get, and that's the pouch of jewels right there. And this fella, this is Professor Plummer. And Professor Plummer is a combination of Professor Plum, which is why he's got all this pink and purple on him. Kind of like a reference to Clue, but also Christopher Plummer, the late great Christopher Plummer, who it was just an incredible Canadian icon of an actor. And I really loved his performance in Knives Out, so that's why he's out here doing his thing. This could be a real boon for our mineralogy exhibit. We need something better than those dilettantes over in geology. I want our exhibit to be the talk of the town. It's too bad that we can't spare anyone to head up to the middle of nowhere on such a long shot. You could spare me. Let me go, Professor Plummer. It would be perfect. Everyone else is busy with the new exhibits. Well, I'm just learning the filing system. That could wait a day or two, couldn't it? I'm not usually in the habit of sending unsupervised young ladies into less civilized regions. Just luck would have it, the discovery was made near a lodge, where I'm sure you could stay while you conduct your field work. You win, Nancy. Get on home, pack your bags, and catch the train up north. Hooray! Thanks so much, Professor. Okay. And here she goes, on to adventure. If you find something that can make a big splash at the museum, who knows? Maybe the university will finally accept you as a mineralogist student. Good luck, kiddo. I won't let you down. A few hours later. And this was, here's my train. This was modeled on Union Station in Toronto, which is still our transit hub. And this is what the station looked like way back when. And this is the same kind of train that you would see way back when as well. Alright. And this is also, this shot is an exterior of Union Station in Nancy's day, around 1910s time. So I was really pleased to kind of recreate that for the game. And there goes the background. Very proud of the way the background changes as she goes traveling during the intro. This is it! My first time out of the city. I'm going to make the most of this trip. I can't wait to see the rocks of Northern Ontario. Nancy is... The reason, she's a clerk at the Royal Canadian Museum is she's kind of hoping one day to get to study mineralogy in university. But she's kind of having trouble getting in because at this point, not a lot of women were being allowed into universities. And so she wants to take this opportunity to learn more about rocks. I've always loved rocks. I've always been interested in rocks. That's partly why I created a story about rocks, so I could learn more about them, read more about them, and it's been really fun to learn more about them and also try to travel and get more rocks. Is what I've been doing. Goodbye, big city. Hello, adventure. A few hours later. See how the background is now like farmland and trees and stuff? Yeah. And that's all just like a big, long, skinny thing that I then just repeat over and over again. Excuse me, is this seat taken? Not at all. Please have a seat. Thanks. My name is Kimi Kishiro. Where are you headed? Kimi Kishiro. Her last name is Kishiro because my favorite manga artist is Yukito Kishiro, who made Battle Angel Alita. And that's why her last name is Kishiro. I am probably too proud of the way that the shadow and the light is happening here because it's only I don't know, 2 frames shuffling back and forth for that lighting. But I like the effect a lot. I like the effect of creating light from this ridiculously small collection of colors. Pleased to meet you. I'm Nancy Maple. Nancy Maple, of course, it's a mashup of Nancy Drew and Miss Marple, and that's it. And Maple, that's it. I'm not good at naming things, and there's some characters in this game that are just named stuff because I just wanted to name them something and not think too hard about it, and that's Nancy Maple's name to a T, really. I'm bound for a town called Crimson. Oh my. And the oh my, of course, is kind of like a Sulu thing, so I don't know, I couldn't resist sticking that in. Oh my. You've got some hours yet. I should know because that's where I'm going. Coincidence? It's so funny because when people start playing this and they know it's a mystery story, they get, all of a sudden they have all these expectations of, oh no, is Kimi actually going to this place? And what's going to happen? Who's going to die? All these things. I'm a clerk from the Royal Canadian Museum. My boss sent me to check out the diamond claim up there. I hadn't heard of that discovery. Then again, I don't really pay much attention to the news. It's a very strange story. Up by Crimson, a fish swallowed a huge diamond. A fisherman caught it, sliced it open, and there it was, a spectacular, sparkling gem. Can you imagine? I jumped at the chance to investigate. This is my first time out of the city. I couldn't be more excited. Yeah, Nancy's backstory, this doesn't... I did have a manual at some point that was going to show, some of the backstory of some of these characters, and it was just too much work to update it, and I just didn't share it, but it's like an old document somewhere. But Nancy is the daughter of Irish immigrants who emigrated during the potato famine from Ireland. And she grew up in an area of Toronto that was at the time called the Ward, which is now like prime downtown Toronto. But at the time, it was kind of not in a nice area. And so Nancy's not from, she's from humble beginnings, let's say. And Kimmy, by contrast actually, is from Vancouver. And Kimmy was born in Canada, in the same way that my dad was born in Canada and my grandmother was born in Canada, in Vancouver, and that's kind of what she's coming from. So she actually is a bit better off than Nancy, in fact, because she's kind of generationally been here, and she has this luxury to travel, which not a lot of people would have, and especially not a lot of women would have. Where will you be staying when we get to Crimson? A place called Crimson Lodge. Ah, I'm staying at Crimson Lodge. Which sounds like a big coincidence or something like maybe creepy, but when you think about it, there's probably only really one place to stay up there anyway, so everyone who's going up there would probably stay at the same place, which is actually what happens. I'm a bird watcher. I've heard there are nesting colonies of cormorants up there. That's what I want to see. And that's something where, yeah, my parents loved to go bird watching. And I have seen cormorants, and they are very cool. And I wouldn't mind seeing the Sioux Locks while I'm in the area. I'd love to see the big ships up close. So Kimmy is basically a tourist, while Nancy's going to this place for work. Wonderful, we can be traveling companions. I'd very much like that. You and Kimmy chat amiably for a while. As the day wears on, the rhythm of the train, moving over the tracks, and the monotony of the scenery lulls you into a deep sleep. I tend to always sleep on trains and in car rides. I do find it very relaxing. The conductor announces, "Crimson, this stop." Nancy, it's time to go. Ah, thanks. Oh no, where's my luggage? Her eyes, they're not synchronized. And I was gonna fix that, but I thought it was funny, so I left it. Also, it kind of reminds me of Ziggy from Dagger of Amon-Ra. There's an edition of Dagger of Amon-Ra where Ziggy looks like a bit stranger than another version of Dagger of Amon-Ra, and like his eye kind of does a weird thing. And and Nancy's eye behaving like this reminded me of Ziggy's eye in Dagger of Amon-Ra in the edition that I remember. And that's why I didn't even bother trying to fix her eyes, because I liked it. I thought it was fun. It's not here. There's no luggage left at all. This is like my nightmare. One of the Sierra games that I never played is Gold Rush, because Gold Rush is like my nightmare. When I'm traveling, I get stressed out when I think about unanticipated disasters that can happen. Like, yeah, your luggage going missing, or you lose your passport, or you miss your plane, you miss your connecting flight, or anything like that. I don't enjoy the process of getting places. I like being places, but the actual process, I'm not a fan. My field kit's in there. What am I going to do? The train will be leaving soon. Nancy, we have to leave now. Ah! That's me, ah. Oh, I had no idea anyone was still on the train. Hello there. Hello. I didn't notice you on the train. Isn't that funny? And it's kind of... Nancy's kind of trying to be nice about this, but what she means is, I didn't notice you in the train. Isn't that suspicious or weird or... You know, but you can't really say that. You gotta be like, isn't that funny? Not funny, haha, funny, strange. Not really. I was in the first class car. Well, fair enough. I'm here to see the nesting cormorants. Is that why you're here? Cormorants? Is that a type of rodent? This guy is very obviously inspired by Hercule Poirot from Agatha Christie novels. I guess specifically David Suchet's version of Hercule Poirot. And it's funny because I've never actually watched a lot of Hercule Poirot. I've seen some episodes. And I've seen the classic 70s midnight, what's it called? Murder on the Orient Express. And I've also seen the Kenneth Branagh one, but yeah, this one is, the classic one is quite good. Here's Jack. Excuse me, folks, but I was sent to pick up just one person from the station tonight, Mr. Albert Respa. a European fellow, expert mineralogist on assignment hired by the federal government on loan from Antwerp. Some people think Antwerp is a reference to the Antwerps from the Quest for Glory series, like the beanbag things that bounce up and down. But in actual fact, Antwerp was a major trading hub for diamonds, like it still is, I think, but yeah, for hundreds of years this place has been. And so you would imagine that if you're going to hire someone who you think would be an expert on diamonds, who wants to validate a diamond claim in an area, like you'd say you get a guy from Antwerp possibly. I wasn't told he'd be bringing any secretaries' wives, girlfriends. This is some light sexism, but I don't think. I mean, I guess I could say is like Jack doesn't mean anything by this. He's not a malicious guy. It's just this is the era where women aren't allowed to go to a lot of places. I mean, Nancy herself is based on one of the first women geologists in Canada, and she was like not allowed to go on field work, and she was barely allowed to even like get a degree. And even when she belonged to like these geological societies and surveys, stuff that the guys would get she wouldn't get. Like if you remember, I think of the Geological Survey of Canada or something, and you were going to be doing field work, they would like furnish you with a car. But they didn't with her because she was a woman. So she actually just bought her own car, which I think is the most incredible thing that she would do. And she had to do all of her research like in her neighborhood basically. And it was such good research, in fact, that it did further knowledge about the area. And she did get granted a degree in geology. But yeah, it was not an easy time. And Jack is, like I said, doesn't mean anything by it. But, you know, the lady's not too appreciative of that. And you know, Nancy, I think, approaches it in the way that you may if you were living at this time. Like, she's not angry about this. I mean, I think she's probably encountered this kind of attitude a lot in her life. But she says, I'm sorry for the confusion, you know, Jack. And then she explains, yeah, we don't know this guy. And my name is Nancy Maple, and my friend's name is Kimmy. And, you know, her whole deal, she actually repeats her deal a lot, especially in the first chapter. That's basically the goal of the first chapter. Is you introduce yourself about 9 times to people. That's all the first chapter is. And yes, Kimmy is about the cormorants. She's super into the birds. Yeah, we're going to both stay at the lodge, go about our business. Do you know which way it is from here? I see everyone's just going to the same place. That's the only place that's around. Surely, I surely know where it is because that's where I drove out from. But I'm sorry to tell you, ladies, the lodge has been closed to the public for months. You didn't hear? Yeah, the game is set in 1914. News travels a lot slower in those days, and that's probably another reason why I set it in 1914. There's other reasons for sure, and which are story reasons I won't really get into. But I think a part of the charm of Golden Age detective fiction, which is, it was a lot easier for people to get away with stuff. There, you know, no cameras, no mobile phones, no like cell phone towers pinging your location, you know. It was, yeah, and so it had to more do with like catching someone was more to do with like deduction, I would say, and finding, you know, holes in their story and having an idea of people's psychology versus having like that hard evidence. Like obviously there's no DNA at this time either, really. A lot harder to be a criminal nowadays, but in these days and earlier, like who knows what people got away with. My boss, Mr. Richard, he's getting on. He's done with the lodging business. All he wants is peace and quiet. But then this whole diamond fiasco starts up, folks all up in arms. He's not pleased at all, I can tell you. This gentleman here is on the government orders. Mr. Richards can't do much about that. But you two. Well, that's unfortunate, but you only have yourselves to blame for being uninformed. Let's be off, Jack. Good evening, ladies. Thing is, like, Jack's not a bad guy. Thing is, ain't no one's coming by here at this time of night. The nearest accommodation is the lodge, which is a few hours by automobile, even still. Look here, I'll drive you ladies up to the lodge for the night. Tomorrow morning I'll bring you back here so you can catch the train. As it is, Mr. Richards is going to be peeved about hosting unexpected guests. I mean, even more than he is already. His sister's come up from the city to stake her claim. She's brought a lawyer to boot. Come along now. I also tried to make it look like this station has seen better days. Like the sign is a little bit crooked and peeling paint, and although you can't really tell, this just looks like the O has been deteriorated. In the daytime, when you see the scene again, they can see like birds have nested in the O, which they often like to do. Yeah, it's kind of run down at this point. Sure, I'll get those for you. Everyone loves to talk about how Jack has perfect form when he's picking up that luggage. Keeps a straight back. Sir, your trunks arrived a few days ago. Boy, they sure are heavy. Ah, yes, of course. And this is an REO touring wagon, I think, which was an automobile of that era, and probably quite a fancy one at that. I know it sounds like a helicopter, and I hope it's not too loud, but probably that's what it would have sounded like. I don't know. Ah, yes, of course. It sure gets dark here at night. Lucky for you, I've made this trip many times. Used to be, folks would come out here in the summers for recreation. You can even see, like, the road is not, like, the best type of road. It's kind of overgrown and bumpy. And before my time, settlers came to this area in hopes of building lives for themselves. But once the mines were used up, there wasn't much reason for them to stay. The soil ain't that good. Have you seen any cormorants? I'm hoping to see some. Yeah, they nest up on the cliffside. Stay away, though. They don't like being disturbed, particularly during nesting season, which happens to be right now. The game is set in, like, late summer, which is indeed the nesting season of double-crested cormorants. Or double-crested cormorants? It is their nesting season in August. And the Crimson Diamond itself, the game, launched in August 15, 2024. So it all kind of lines up for whatever reason. So if you're so wild about birds, I'd let them alone. You'd do more harm than good. Besides, tomorrow morning I'll be taking you right back to the train station. You won't have any time to go looking for them. Have any other diamonds been found around the lodge? First of all, no way to know if that rock even came from around here. I've lived in this area for years and ain't never seen any diamonds, so I know for a fact that it didn't come from these parts. Fret noise, hello, happy Crimson Tuesday. Whoa, wait, happy Crimson Friday. Happy Curious Odyssey Steam event day to you. They say that a man cut it out of the belly of a fish? That diamond could have come from anywhere upstream. You folks are wasting your time, sorry to say. I don't know why I'm giving him like a southern accent. He's not southern, he's northern. Who cares about shiny rocks anyway? No use to anybody. We shall see about that. Yeah. Your travel-weary companions resist your attempts at chit-chat. Seems that Kimmy and Albert have fallen asleep, although in the almost complete darkness, it's hard to tell. It's impossible for Jack to hear you from the back seat above the cacophony of the engine and the automobile rattling over the rough country road. You decide it would be better not to distract him anyway. Here we go. Here we are. It never gets this dark again in the game because it would be unplayable, I think. Wow, it's spectacular. You know what? I almost don't mind having more bodies in the lodge. Feels not so empty. Feels like old times. Make yourself at home while you're here. Thanks, Jack. Welcome to Crimson Lodge. I'm going to my room. Miss Kashiro, Miss Maple, your bedroom is upstairs at the end of the hall on the right. The bedroom across the hall from you, that's Mr. Richard's suite. Try to keep quiet and stay out of his way, won't you? He shares the suite with Margot. She's his lady friend. I'm in the bedroom right next to yours along with Mr. Shaw. Albert demanded the use of my bedroom, so that's where he is. Don't know why he was so insistent, but the customer is always right, eh? Ha. Another thing is people think Canadians say a lot, like at the end of their sentences, and I don't. And I actually think, do I even say like that classical like Canadian accent of a boot? I don't think maybe I say a boot a little bit, but if I don't tend to. I think I just say about. Maybe that sounds Canadian still too. But it's sometimes fun to emphasize it. The Canadian accent that people know of is more like of a Northern Ontario type of accent. The type of accent you'd hear from like Bob and Doug McKenzie of SCTV. That type of accent. The kind of accent you hear like, I don't know, like hockey commentators having a lot of the time. But I don't know. I feel like I've kind of grown up in Toronto my whole life, and I probably do sound kind of Canadian, but probably not as stereotypically Canadian as people like to say. At least I don't think so. That's the smallest bedroom, wasn't really meant for guests. Nessa's room is across the hall from Albert. I'd stay away from her if I was you. After I get this luggage upstairs, I'm going to start up some supper. Wouldn't do to have you all starve, eh? See, he does it again. I don't do that, but I try to be faithful to, you know, some people must. I don't know. Why don't you explore the lodge a little? Talk to the other folks. So this is kind of an indication of what you should probably do. I mean, it will get repeated in other ways in the game, but yeah. Explore the lodge, talk to people. Most important, stay out of my hair. I'm a busy man. Not literally, of course. Oh, and if you want a shower tonight, use the upstairs bathroom near the stairs. It's very pink, you can't miss it. Here he goes. Wonder if Nat's still here. How many places do I gotta set at the table tonight? The dining room table, when I first created it, it has like a number of chairs around it and one on either end. And it's funny because when I designed that dining room table, I didn't even know I was making a game. I just made a dining room table. I might have used like the Colonel's Bequest dining room scene as kind of a cue of how many chairs to put around that table. But that was my only like idea of how many chairs I should put around that table. But then as it happens, when there's a lot of people on the lodge, it actually happens that I think I filled every seat in that dining room without having really planned it ahead of time, which is kind of funny. You just never know. You and Kimmy head upstairs to your bedroom. You don't have any luggage to unpack, but you hang your hat and coat on the footboard of your bed and consider yourself settled in. Chapter 1, Introductions. Great piece of music. Great piece of music. And here's what I mentioned is there is some tutorialization in the actual game. If you just didn't do the tutorial room, I kind of snuck it in anyway. But we can skip all this. I should talk to everyone and get to know them a little before dinner. Your notebook will tell you what you need to do to progress through the game. Yes. Yes. Right. All this we've already covered. And review. This review command actually came way late into the Crimson Diamond's development. It was just another way for people to know what they have to do next. Fred Noy says, was the whole A thing maybe more generational? I remember it a lot with Bob and Doug Mackenzie playing it up when I was a kid. It doesn't seem like I hear too much in pop culture from Canada. Not that I knowingly consume a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Like there are like kind of Northern Ontario-ish shows. Like this Letterkenny is supposed to be set in Northern Ontario. And like Trailer Park Boys is not set in Ontario, but it's supposed to be like a very certain type of Canadian. And actually it's funny because I've never actually seen those shows. So I don't really know what they sound like. But it could be that the A thing is something older, as you say, and not something that people would recognize nowadays. Or it could just be super duper regional. Okay, seeing as I lost my luggage, I don't have much to amuse myself with before dinner. Perhaps if I take a look around, time will pass a bit faster. Type look into the text parser is a good way to get your bearings. Game has auto-saved. Here's another modern quality of life design improvement, is this idea of auto-saving. We didn't have that back in the day, but it was fairly easy to do for the game, so I thought, why not? Okay, so here we are. I don't actually use this. In fact, if you don't like to see the cursor just dangling around, you can turn it off completely. So you have this mouse click to walk on, this option. You can just turn that off, and when you click out of the menu, like you just don't see it anymore. If it just bothers you. Of course, it comes back whenever you want it for menus, but if you don't want it, it's just gone. And that might be a nice way, especially if you're going to completely keyboard it, which you can do. You can just, like this inventory, you don't need any, you don't need to control it with a mouse. The notebook, you don't need to control with a mouse. Oh yeah, review. You can type in review, and Nancy will tell you what she needs to do next, which is really nice. I wish I had this in real life sometimes. But yeah, and maybe some hints about how to do those things as well. So she's kind of telling you where you might expect to see some of the other guests in the lodge, which I'm not going to really read too much. But yeah, we can just do this, move around. Something that is kind of a fun thing that I put in the game that is useless and doesn't need to be there is you can sit in a lot of the rooms. And I was actually in this video fairly recently called, what is it called again? I forget what the video is called, but it was a few game developers talking about chairs in games and sitting in games. And one of those people was John Ingold, and he was talking about The Last Express. I think John Ingold was talking about The Last Express, and how I've never played The Last Express, and I probably should. But what was crazy to me, and it's so funny, is there's a part in the game apparently where there's like a violin performance or something on the train, and you could just sit and it's just listen to the whole violin performance. And apparently during the violin performance, everyone is in that area, which is a good time to go around snooping. But if you didn't do that, you could just sit and enjoy like a multiple minute violin performance, which they did record just the whole thing in case a player did just sit there and listen to it, which I thought was fascinating. But yeah, you can sit in this game, and there's a lot of reasons I think why I put this in. One of them was it frustrates me when you cannot sit in an adventure game. because I like to interact with the scene. I like to feel like I'm part of this world, and not sitting is just it's not hospitable. And I think of being in the real world, and one of the first things you do when you get invited somewhere is like, you please have a seat. You can have a seat. And in a game, the idea of sitting and being passive and not acting is kind of nice, because of course as a player we're supposed to act. We're supposed to be doing things in the game. But when you sit down, it's this whole like, take a break. In fact, some games when you sit down on seats, it's like the way to save the game, right? And so I like that very much. Also, the other reason that I have it, I think, is because a lot of the time when I was making the Crimson Diamond, I was having like lower back pain. And when you have lower back pain, a lot of the time when you're standing or going to a place, you're looking where you can sit. And that was part of the reason I think I also let people sit in the game, because I would think it would be unbearable to just constantly stand. My back is better now. Stand. 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 Here we go. Okay. So, first things to do, we can talk to Kimmy. Let's talk to Kimmy. Talk to Kimmy. Right. Nancy loves meeting new people, which I think is great. And I think I'm more like Nancy now than I was at her age. Nancy in this game is, I think, in her early 20s. When I was in my early 20s, I was not as social, I would say. And Kimmy says, you are the inquisitive type, aren't you? Which just means, like, you're nosy. You're super nosy, aren't you? And Jack did invite you to introduce yourself to everyone else. After all, it's only polite. I don't know. I most certainly am. Would you like to join me? And Kimmy won't. I've said on many occasions that Kimmy is who I would be if I was actually in this game. I would just be sitting in my room, sketching in my sketchbook, and waiting for dinner, and not introducing myself to everybody. But that's not what Nancy's going to do, and that's not what the player can do if they actually want to progress through this game. You actually have to talk to everybody. Including Kimmy, which... Oh yeah, also this. While you were asleep, Jack mentioned some old lodge brochures stored in the curio cabinet's drawer. They were meant for guests back when the lodge used to be an inn. Even though we may not stay long, he said we're welcome to take them as keepsakes. Thanks, Kimmy. Yeah, notebook. Now that we've talked to Kimmy, yes. But we have plenty of other people to talk to. Let's see. It's 9:05. I'd say maybe I would play and just give a bit more commentary on this until about maybe 9:30. And then I'll take the last half hour and give you a sneak peek on my new project that I've been working on. That if you do come to my streams on Twitch at 8 p.m. Eastern on Crimson Tuesdays, you can see me working on that game. And my Twitch handle is _Maple Mystery. And if you're just joining us for the Curious Odyssey Steam event, I am live like right now. It is 9:06 p.m. Eastern time. Well, Eastern Daylight Savings Time, I guess it is now in Toronto. That's why the live thing is showing. I will be rebroadcasting this for the duration for the rest of probably for the rest of this event. Unless I can't remember how long the event lasts. But if it's still on Tuesday, like I'm obviously gonna stop rebroadcasting this when I do stream on the Tuesday. But yeah, I will probably be looping this. But the live part will be like crossed out. So that will be, so you'll know that it's a rebroadcast. But right now it is live. And if you have any questions for me about the Crimson Diamonds development, definitely you can ask them right now, and I will answer after a 6 to 10 second delay. Okay. Here's another objective that we've learned about when Kimmy told us. Open the curio cabinet drawer, then search the drawer and take the brochure. Okay, so why don't we open the curio cabinet drawer. So you can kind of be more verbose if you want. I can say open the curio cabinet drawer. And here we go, you open it. We can search drawer, which also is DR in the game. The curio drawer is stuffed with old brochures back from when the lodge was still being run as an inn. Okay, let's get brochure. You pick up one of the lodge brochures. You can also ask characters about different topics. Try ask Kimmy about brochure, or ask about brochure. Ask about brochure. Control A is the shortcut for that, which is nice. I like brochures of places I've visited. I told you, like, Kimmy is just me. I like brochures of places I've visited. It's kind of like a souvenir that you don't have to buy, and it's got a lot of information that you might not remember otherwise. It was nice of Jack to offer the lodge brochures to us, though I wonder if he's just trying to get rid of them, as the lodge is no longer in business as an inn. Type map into the parser to open up the lodge brochure and see the map inside, or you can look at the brochure in your inventory. So we now have a map. It doesn't tell you where we are, It's not like an active map or anything like that. But we're currently in guest bedroom 1, which is the upper right-hand corner room in the upper right-hand corner of this map. Just to give you an idea of the layout of this place. Like you can see the ground floor, which is on the left-hand side, has some exterior doors. But we cannot go outside during chapter 1 of the game because it's dark outside and you don't know this area. You could very easily get lost. So Nancy won't do that. Nancy will often not allow you to do anything dangerous unless you really try to do them. But you can't really go outside at this point in the game. Although I will say early testers were actually able to escape the lodge during chapter 1, but I'm pretty sure I fixed that. Okie dokie. So that's that. If you want to, you can close that drawer. It's really interesting watching people at events play the game because the vast majority of people will just open everything and be like raccoons. But very occasionally, you get a very meticulous person who carefully opens and closes every door and every cupboard and everything. Sometimes they do it just because they're being polite, and sometimes they do it because they don't want to be caught snooping. And it's nice to see people's different motivations for that meticulousness. Open door. If there's only one door, Nancy will go to that door and open it. And here are the tutorial boxes I mentioned. Yeah, the help. If you type help, it will give you some text browser shortcuts, which can be handy. Oops, H. So that can be handy. Also, yeah, walking. If you don't want to hold these buttons down, you can type walk. That W for walk, and then east to walk east, and west. Oh, west is west like this. If the door is open. And yeah, but if there's multiple doors and you're standing in the middle of them, like if I was to go here and type closed door, then Nancy will close that door because it's the closest to her. But if she's in the middle of the hallway, she doesn't know which one you mean. You can either walk closer to that door or type like open left door. And then she'll open left door. Or you can open, or just be here and be like open east door. Will also work. Anyway. And here we have another. So this is actually something that sometimes people get a bit confused by. And I don't know if I came up with the best solution for this. But these doors, you can see if you walk directly in front of them, they kind of become outlines to show you where Nancy is. Otherwise, you could just legitimately lose Nancy in the room if they didn't become those outlines. But then some people get stuck because they don't know why they can't go through this doorway, you know? So I don't know. I don't know if I came up with the best solution to that. But the other solution would be like people just being like, I can't see my character at all. She's gone. The game is broken. I don't know. But you'll know that, yeah, when you play a lot of like these adventure games, people actually are very careful about not having this problem in their games, and I just didn't think about that. Maybe I'll think about that more for my next games. Anyway, let's go into this to open the door. Nice ensuite bathroom. Here's this nice mirror. Fancy piece of coding that I got from another AGS developer. I don't know how that works, but it's magic. It's magic to me too. How about that? There are tons of things you can do in the game that they're not there for gameplay purposes. The mirrors are one of them. Another thing you can do for just no reason, just I thought you should be able to, is you can sit on the toilet. Sit on toilet. And Nancy actually will go all the way to there. She'll close the door for privacy. And she would ask for privacy. We move aside. Hear the flush, and there she is. But you can also flush the toilet yourself here, just like this. You like pull the chain, and you can wash your hands. Would dithering the door work? Yeah, Fret Noise. It could be that would have worked, and that might have been a better solution to it potentially. Yeah, maybe next time. I don't know why that didn't occur to me, but that's the thing that happens when you're just making the game on your own. So you just sometimes just miss the obvious, right? But yeah, like washing your hands, drying your hands, all that stuff. Can you even just say dry hands? I don't even know. Yeah, you can. You can just dry your hands. Dry your hands on the towel. It's not necessary to do, but it was just, I felt like it makes you feel like you're here, you know? I don't know. Oops. OD. Okay. So again, we can sit in this room. If you want to sit? Just sit down. Stand. We can open that cupboard. Oh, we gotta walk closer. Okay, well. Is this even a cupboard? This might just be a wardrobe. No, okay. And look in cupboard. Garment bags, open bags. Open garment. Garment. Garment bags. Examine garment bags. What are they called? Yeah, there are garment bags. Look, overalls? I can't even play my own game. Overalls neatly folded at the bottom of wardrobe. Take overalls. Overalls neither your size nor your style. Guess not. Can I just wear them? No. And this is like a bit of a thing. Sometimes people have reported this as a bug, but you can try entering the. You can enter the cupboard, and it'll say, "Please insert disc number 2 to continue." And this is just another silly adventure game joke, of course. I mean, it's basically the same one as The Secret of Monkey Island, where there's that tree stump in the woods, and it asks you to like insert like disc 45 or something. I don't remember the number. Read error, region not loaded, and then that's it. That's it. Okay. Oh, also something you can do in this game that is also kind of useless, but the polite people always try to do it, and I felt bad that they couldn't do it. You can actually just knock on these doors. And if there's someone behind the door, the person will say, "Yes, who is it?" or "Leave me alone," or something like this. Yeah, you can, I mean, you can close the door. I can knock on this door, but no one's here, so you can just do it. But yeah, you get no response, so you know there's no one in there, right? That was another kind of late addition in terms of making the game that I just like, because it is something that people would do, even though it doesn't necessarily really have a reason for happening. But here we are. This boudoir. That poster, this is an Henri Toulouse-Lautrec poster that if you're familiar with his work, you might be able to recognize this one. There are a few pieces of art that are like that in the game. And here's Margot. We can look. The boudoir transports you to fin de siècle Paris. It's shiny, opulent, perhaps slightly tacky, and very, very pink. Mirrored vanity is the focal point of the room. Exotic perfumes hover in intensely localized clouds that you can almost see. Every movement stirs air currents that bring new scents to your nose. A doorway leads to the south to a walk-in closet, and a doorway to the north leads back into the master bedroom. A powder compact is on the vanity. You see a pretty blonde woman in a fashionable dress. Right now, this is something actually that Francisco Gonzalez, who is another AGS developer, and has made most recently Rosewater. This was one of his suggestions. If I was to look at person now, a slim blonde woman sits at the vanity. We actually don't know her name yet. Like I said, she's Margot because I know that she's Margot. But if you're Nancy and you're just coming into this area the first time, and you look at her, you wouldn't know who this is. So if we talk to her, then we learn her name. Talk to Margot. Or talk to person. Hello there, it's nice to meet you. My name's Nancy Maple. A pleasure to meet you, mademoiselle. I am Margot. Welcome to Crimson Lodge. How long will you be staying with us? I'm only here tonight, unfortunately. I was sent here by the Royal Canadian Museum on assignment, but Jack says I'm due to leave on the train tomorrow, according to Mr. Richard's wishes. I see. I'm sorry we won't get to know each other better. Oh no, I crashed my own game. How did it crash? How did it crash? What happened? Did you... Amazing. You guys, I crashed the game. That's weird. I have no idea why. You know what it could be? That I am actually playing this game on a more recent version of Adventure Game Studio than I actually developed the game on. And I have found like weird bugs that crop up if I try to load the game up in a newer version of AGS. And it could be that is what just happened, that's what caused the crash. Because obviously in Chapter 1, talking to Margot is a game progression thing that you must do, or you can't continue playing the game. Which means that, however many hundreds or thousands of people would have done that. And I'm pretty sure that this is not broken in the current version that's available on Steam, on GOG, on itch.io, on Fireflower Games. I'm quite confident that this is not broken in any of those places. So, but it's good to know that, you know, I cannot update the Crimson Diamond to a newer version of the engine, because then weird stuff like this crops up. There was another weird issue with this newer version of AGS where if you restarted the game, then all like a lot of like the user interface stuff would just not be in the right place. It'd be all kind of weird. And apparently that was a bug that actually had to do with the engine, and they fixed that in a newer version of AGS. But this just goes to show me that there are things in this newer version of AGS that I just cannot anticipate that will break the Crimson Diamond, which definitely means that when I'm fixing the Crimson Diamond, I will be using an older version of AGS, which I still do have, of course. But yeah, you just never know. Something unexpected like that can happen. But actually, let me try. It says here. Oh, okay, so it actually is giving me an error message. I'm going to take a picture of the error message. So that's... I can look into this later. But honestly, I'm not super concerned because this is only happening when I play this in a... Because I'm not playing like this on Steam right now. I'm playing in a build, like a new build, which is my own problem. Let's see. Should I just be playing the Steam version, you think? I mean, it's not like I don't have the Steam version. In fact, to demonstrate that it does work in Steam, let's play the Steam version. Give me a second. Ugh. No. Hold on. Steam. Yeah. Let's load it up on Steam. And we'll quickly get to where we were. Okay. Crimson Diamond play. Give me a second. I will get the window proper. Okay. Okay. One moment, please. Oh, okay. It's right. It's right there. In fact, I just have to resize it a little bit. Give me a second. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, that was pretty seamless. Okay. Let's play the Steam version together then. Okay. Start a new game. Let's just get out of all this. All we've really done is talk to Kimmy. Right? Okay, open door. Okay. Open door. Open door. Now we looked, right? Oh yeah, and also there's two versions of the font as well. So there's this serifed version, which has got the little, you know, on the upper and lowers there's like these like little feet on the letters. But yeah, there's actually this other sans serif font. So this is now Crimsonite Sans. So when you look, this is the actual font that we were using. So okay, so if we look person. Okay, there's here. And then now let's talk to person, and we'll see if it crashes again. And I'm going to say like 99.9% it's not going to actually crash. Okay, nice to meet you. It's Nancy Maple. Will you be staying with us? I'm only here for tonight. I'm here due to leave on the train according to Mr. Rich's wishes. Sorry, we won't get to know each other better. And see, it's totally fine. This is the actual Steam version, so don't worry. If you're planning to purchase the Crimson Diamond on Steam currently for 25% off for the Curious Odyssey Steam event, the game will not crash when you talk to Margot. That's just a weirdness where launching the game with a newer version of the AGS engine does that. Okay. Moving on. Let's continue. Well, here's another place for us to sit. Sit down. Let's take a load off. Let's have a sip of tea. Okay, let's stand. Oops. Another mirror. Let's check our notebook. Okay, we've talked to Kimmy. We've talked to Margot. Let's go. In 7 minutes at 9:30 Eastern time, I will give that preview of the next game that I'm working on, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, that just press escape to open the main menu. We know all about that. Let's keep going. Oops. Open this door. Oh yeah, also, yeah, here, why don't we close the door? And let's knock on the door. I mean, it's a bit late to do that, but let's just do it. You knock lightly on Albert's door. Leave me alone, whoever it is, I am busy. It doesn't matter. We're going in anyway. And we can even sit here. We can watch him unpack if we want. All those white shirts. Look at... We know his name, so we can call him Albert. Albert Respa is a stately, well-groomed gentleman in his 50s. His monocle gives him an elegant air. Antwerp sent him as an expert mineralogist to verify the diamond claim in Crimson. You have a hard time imagining him doing field work. Albert is unpacking his things. Let's say hello. Let's talk to Al. Hello, Mr. Respa. How are you settling in? Please, miss, I'm busy at the moment and can't chat. That still counts, though. It counts as talk to Albert. Let's stand. This picture here, in his room, that is nothing. It's not based on any actual artwork, when a lot of the other ones have been. I don't know why I didn't. Can we open this cupboard while he's doing this? No. Kindly stay out of my way, miss. I'm busy unpacking my things. I'm trying to help. But you can't like impede him or anything. You can't like stand in front of him. It's not going to help. Okay, next. I know where everybody is, so we can speed run this. But there's actually, yeah, I mean, when I mentioned the night was never going to get it as dark as the introductory sequence, this is as dark as the game gets. This kind of cyan, kind of dusky kind of look to it. The game does have day and night in it, and when it's daytime, this scene will look quite different. And I like that. I like how in some adventure games, especially if they're EGA games, when you can see like how the colors change based on what time of day it is. Of course, the Quest for Glory series does that best because it won't just have day and night. They'll have like dusk and, you know, twilight and all these different kinds of lighting conditions. And I think that's really cool. And it's not just them putting like slapping a transparency on top of the screen and calling it a day. Like you actually have to be very purposeful about what colors get subbed in for other colors. Another game that does day and night really nicely is King's Quest IV, which is probably my favorite King's Quest game. Not just for the day and night, but also, yeah, it's EGA still. It's a text parser game, and it's got like Rosella. Rosella's a cool like female protagonist. And I also like the fairy princess lady with the butterfly wings. I like all that stuff. But yeah. You can actually look into this window too. Look in window. You hesitate to look into this window in case you see something you shouldn't. Oh yeah, this is the bathroom. So Nancy is being nice about not looking directly into the bathroom. And I've always been kind of paranoid about bathroom windows because the house that I grew up in, the bathrooms didn't have windows. So whenever I am in a bathroom that does have windows in it, I'm always like worried about people peeping in or anything like this. So Nancy won't do that. But that's the bathroom. Yeah, she won't look into the bathroom. But if you look, you can look. Oh, whoops, sorry. You can look into this one. Look in window. You can see into the spare room. That's fine. There's no one in the spare room. It's a spare room. You won't see anything you don't want to see. Open door. Okay. And you can go downstairs. You just move downstairs. Yeah, as I mentioned, you can't go outside right now. My goodness, it's dark as anything out there. I have no need to go out this way right now. Yeah, Nancy's a smart lady. She knows that you don't go wandering around in the woods at night in a place you don't know because it's pitch black out there. You could fall into, you know, a ditch or a river or something. So just be careful. Be careful. You do get an opportunity in Chapter 2 to start exploring outside. Ooh. I hear voices near this doorway. I wonder what they're talking about. And this is going to be a big thing in this game. If you want to be a nosy Nancy, you kind of... I don't even know if you ever have to be a nosy Nancy, actually, come to think of it. It's easy to see when you can have that opportunity. I mean, at least in some cases. But I'm trying to think now. I'm trying to rack my brain and think, do you ever actually have to do this to progress the game? Maybe, oh yeah, the end of Chapter 1 you do. But I think after that, you don't ever need to eavesdrop on anything to progress the game. Just this one particular event. Okay, so let us eavesdrop. Or listen, like if you didn't even know eavesdrop, you could be like, listen. We've only just arrived, but I can't wait to leave. I've always hated this place. We'll get this whole affair straightened out and be gone in no time. Of course, locating the will would expedite our departure. I told you, I don't even know if there is a will here, so here we go, some interesting subplots are popping up. That does complicate things, yes. Well, you do your job, and I'll do mine. Game's autosave. Oh yeah, I should take a look at the autosaves, in fact. Yeah, there are Nessa and Corvus 17. Now, people were wondering what those numbers mean on this, and it's just a way to, like, if you had if you restored before this and then you actually saw this same scene and you got another autosave with the same name, it would have incremented one, so you at least know the difference between the two. Otherwise, they might even like save over your previous autosave, which I didn't want that to happen. So this has nothing to do with points or anything like that. This is just a number assigned to this save, so it doesn't overwrite the previous save of the same name. Okay, we can go in. We can sit in this room. You can sit you can sit in two places. You can sit here, or you can sit here, which I prefer sitting here because we don't want to sit beside Nessa. You'll find out pretty quickly that she's not the nicest person. And you notice that this sprite for Nancy sitting is different from the other one because she's not putting her hands in her lap. She's actually got her arms on the armrests. This painting in this room is a group of 7 painting. This particular one is by A.Y. Jackson. They're famous Canadian painters of this era, actually. And they would travel up north to paint the beautiful Canadian landscape. And it is now 9:30, and I said at this time I would give you a sneak peek of the game that I'm currently working on. And it's a small game. It's going to be a tiny little mini Maple Mystery, as I call it. And it's going to be about like a 1 or 2 hour long game. And it's based on a trip I took to Nova Scotia a couple of years ago. Specifically an area called Parsboro, Nova Scotia, and specifically to a geological formation known as Wasson Bluff. And Wasson Bluff is kind of like a conglomeration of sandstone and basalt. Basalt? I don't know how to pronounce it. Volcanic rock and sandstone. And what happened is this particular type of basalt is very porous. It's got a lot of like holes in it and everything. And what happened is that really is great because those voids in the rock allow crystals to form as minerals kind of leach through the rock. They will accumulate in these voids, and then these crystals form. And this basalt in this area is just full of like these zeolite crystals. And I even learned about these zeolite crystals when I went to this event in Ontario called the Bancroft Jamboree. And I bought like these little zeolites, and there's different kinds of zeolites. There's some that are cube shaped, and there's some that are more like crystally pointy shaped, and they come in all kinds of colors. And I was kind of fascinated by this. And each of these little pieces that I bought that were from this little collection, they had like, yeah, they told you what locale they were from. And a lot of the ones that I picked up were from this area called Wasson Bluff. In fact, let me just switch camera and show you guys what that... In fact, no, actually not switch camera, but I can just turn on the big version of this camera right now. But before I do that, I'm going to just pull out some of these samples to show you guys. Okay. Okay. All right. So that is where can... Oh yeah, video capture device, bigger video capture. No, that's window capture. This is the bigger. Is this the bigger one? No. Oh, you know what? It is, but I have to drag it to the front. Okay, here we go. So there's the big version of me. Let's turn off the little version. Okay. So here we go. Okay. So this is... You see that it's kind of got like these beautiful crystals. And the back of it is, you know, just kind of gray. It's getting keyed out a bit. But you got these beautiful crystals of this kind of like pinky orangey color. And this actual specimen is chabazite. I mean, you can barely see that. Chabazite from Wasson Bluff. Here you can see, just make it out now, I think. From Parsbo, Nova Scotia. Chabazite. Right? Kind of. Let's turn off this light. Hold on. Yeah, so that's better. Chabazite from Wasson Bluff, Parsbo, Nova Scotia. Right? So that's what this one is from. Another one I have is this one. So the color, the problem is the color is bad on this one. But this one's got sort of like these stand-up kind of fan-like formations here. You can see them jutting out here. And that one is chabazite and stilbite. And this is also from Wasson Bluff, Nova Scotia. And I did collect some other samples from the area, but there's actually a lot of different sites that are really good for rocks in this particular area. But I noticed that the ones that were really catching my eye were from this area called Parsboro and from Wasson Bluff. And I decided I wanted to take a trip there. And it's one of the few places, I think, where you can actually like chip zeolites out of the rock formations there. Like a lot of places when you go to look at minerals, like you're not actually allowed to take any. But in Parsboro and in Wasson Bluff, you can. It's totally fine to do it. And something you do need to be careful of is that the tides go up and they go down quite a bit because it's down the Bay of Fundy. And so I hired a guide to take me and a friend of mine on a tour of the area. And he took us and showed us, he even brought all the tools and everything. So yeah, he showed us how to chip properly at the crystals and obtain a bunch of crystals. And that was a really wonderful experience. And based on that experience, I was inspired to create like this little mini maple mystery. So why don't we take a look at that? And this is, hopefully it's going to be, I'm hoping it's going to, oops, no, wrong thing. Hopefully it's going to come out, I don't know, well, obviously, well, not obviously, but hopefully sometime before the end of this year. I'm hoping like the summertime, but we'll see. Because I'm also doing a bunch of other stuff too. But let me load up. Let's close the broken version of Crimson Diamond. And let's open up a version of this Wasson Bluff game that I'm making. Okay, 1 second. I gotta just re-share my screen, but not quite yet. It takes a little while for the first time for it to start up, so give me 1 second. And I guess again, if we want to talk about Curious Odysseys, this whole thing is a Curious Odyssey for me. Life is a Curious Odyssey, and this motivation to have these new experiences to inspire me to make new games is part of the Odyssey. So, here it is. So right now its working title is The Deadly Bluff, a mini maple mystery. So it would be TDB, and the Crimson Diamond is TCD. And I just like how that they sound similar. I don't know why, but yeah, let's go to new game. There's not really a lot to show. You might notice Wasson Bluff, Nova Scotia, 1890. That's it. Chapter 1. You may notice, oh yes, I need to find Bob. He should be on this beach somewhere. Bob is our guide. And our character has come to Wasson Bluff like I did to have a tour and to obtain some zeolite crystals from Wasson Bluff. My tour guide was not named Bob, he was named Brian, but other than that, very close. And you might notice that this is a different speaking user interface as well. Nancy, you can see just her name across the top and then the dialogue. Her little face, though, on screen is blinking and talking. Type review for your current goal. So that's something I did keep for this new game. Type look to learn about your surroundings. This is a good idea whenever you visit a new area. More tutorializing. Okay, so we still have a note has been added to your notebook and try typing. So let's try typing look. Look. Wasson Bluff is an imposing series of cliffs that are slowly crumbling into the Minas Basin. North leads up the beach and east leads back up the path. To move north, type N, use the arrow keys or click the feet icon where you want to walk. Okay, so we're not going to go north yet. We're not going to go north yet because it's a bit spoilery and I didn't actually prep this very well. But you might notice that this is it's a slightly different art style than the Crimson Diamond. And it is more in line with kind of earlier Sierra games like Gold Rush and King's Quest III and the earlier Space Quest games. This looks a lot like their AGI engine games, which had these like weird double wide pixels. And what I mean by double wide pixels, if you look at some of these individual pixels, like this one here, this yellow pixel against the light gray, it's not a 1x1 square. It's actually like 1x2 rectangles. And they did this because graphics took up a lot of space on discs. When disk space was at a premium, what they would do is they would design the artwork to be 160 pixels by 200, and then they would expand it, they would widen it 200%. And that would save room on the discs for the art. But for me, it's just an aesthetic choice in much the same way that the way that the Crimson Diamond looks with this same 16 color EGA palette is simply an aesthetic choice. I just really like these color combinations. I think it's really fun and pleasing to my eye and does give me that hit of nostalgia that I like so much. Can we even look at the sign? Look at sign. Okay, read sign. I don't think I put anything. A lot of this is very, very beginner stuff right now, but I can show you other locations. This is the first background that I created for the Deadly Bluff, but there are other locations. Like we're just going to warp to chapter 2. The police have cordoned off the beach. I wonder what happened down there. We're not going to know. The tide is still high. I suppose they'll have to wait until the next low tide to take a look. And we can see there is that rope over there across the pathway that leads back down to where we just were. Menu, of course, it's very similar menu as the one that's in the Crimson Diamond, except everything's like kind of double wide pixels and this like chunkier font. Although like these on-off buttons are still like 1x1 pixel things. I don't know if I'm going to fix that or what, but it's just hard to get. It's hard to put words into these little bubbles if it's that double wide pixel size. This might be enough. We also have an inventory. You can look at or examine items in your graphical inventory using the eye to look at and loop. Yeah, whatever. Same as the Crimson Diamond, really. But yeah, you can see all the inventory items and icons are now that double wide pixel idea. This notebook has now a pencil with it. And now the notebook has like it looks like graphite now. It looks like a lead pencil is writing in the notebook. And we do have a lot. Type review for your current goals. Type look in new areas. And then in this game, you could just type in any of those north, N for north, E for east, W for west, S for south to move in those locations. So I made it even easier to move in the compass directions in this game. Right. Oh yeah, and this is I need to fix this. Obviously, this isn't fixed. Chapter 6 is complete. I don't think so. Okay. Yes. Okay. Right. So I think, what does review say here? Oh no, that's a spoiler. Okay. But why don't we go into this, can we look? You're at the top of the bluff. There's a whitewashed building here with lettering painted on it. Looking down from this vantage point, you can see that the tide is still high. The beach is currently inaccessible even to the police. Yeah, they'll have to wait until the next low tide before they can go down there. And that's a big deal in this area. So the tides go up they'll come up and down maybe twice a day. And if you're caught out during high tide or as the tide is rising, you could actually get stuck out there until the tide goes back down. Which is why it was very important for me to have a guide. Can I read the sign? I haven't written a lot for this game yet. Okay, no, look, sign, no. But we can open door because it's the only door. Yeah, try to talk to Pam to have a conversation with her. Okay. Let's talk to Pam. The first time we talk, and you might notice actually a lot like Gold Rush, which is actually for me in this game the primary inspiration. In that game, when you're outside in the exterior areas, like Jared is much smaller, and when you're in an interior like this, you get like big Jared. There's actually a few sizes of Jared depending on like what kind of setting that you're in, and I really like that. And that's not something I did with the Crimson Diamond. But I like the idea of, in the interiors, you get bigger Nancy, or bigger character. First time we talk, and you can see again, she just blinks and talks with her face. Now, there's not going to be speech portraits in this game. And Pam is saying, hey, I'm Pam, which is obviously placeholder still as well. But she blinks her little green eyes and flaps her mouth too. And we can ask her about stuff if we want. I don't know what we can say for it. We can ask Pam about Bob, but I don't want to give you any spoilers, so I might ask Pam about... Can I ask her about the cafe? No. Ask about rocks? Okay, the bluffs are made up of 2 different types of rocks, mostly. I don't know about them. You could ask Norman. He used to want to be a tour guide like Bob. Can we ask about Norman? Let's put Norman. Why are you asking about him? Do you know him? I don't really know why I'm asking you about him. I think this is also a placeholder, because I think you need to have a reason to ask about him. Huh, okay. He works at the lobster cannery and lives on the outskirts of town. Okay. Look in this room. Inside cafe. Indeed. Pam is here. We can also sit. Again. Which, again, very important to me in my games. You can't sit a lot in this game, because a lot of these are exteriors, and I don't want you to be sitting on the ground, really. But you can sit in these chairs. You can talk to Pam again. I can't talk to Pam. Did I misspell that? Hello, Pam. Other stuff. Let's stand up. All this is artwork that I did make on stream. Open door. We have other art we can look at. Oh yeah, here is... I'm currently working on this building. This is a hotel. You can open the door and go to the hotel. Here's this area. This innkeeper. Can we talk to person? First time we talk. Here's Douglas. Yes. Okay, he doesn't have much to say right now. It's a very placeholder. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's also going to be an animation for her to go down the stairs and up the stairs, but that's not there yet. But this is very sketchy as well. This is not what the game's going to end up looking like. But this is our room. We can open the door. Open your hotel room door and go inside. Here's our hotel room. Isn't it luxuriously appointed? Fantastic. Okay. Let's open doors, go back out. Let's get out of here. Great. Oh, we kind of open the door here to leave as well. Okay. Next is where? Can we go anywhere else? The residential area of Parchville, Nova Scotia is this way. You don't know which house you'd visit. Yeah, we don't really know anything more. But... Why can I not? Go east. Why couldn't I walk this way? That's weird. I gotta fix that. But anyway. You get the idea. I don't know. I think I might have mentioned that this game will be about 14 or 15 backgrounds in length. It's going to be much shorter than the Crimson Diamond was. This was a way for me to get to explore this really fun art style that I've always enjoyed. Why is there a double tree in this picture? You know, like, see that front tree? Something weird's going on here. I don't know what that is. Anyway. It was, yeah, it's just a fun way for me to play for briefly in this, like, lower res style that I've been enjoying learning how to work in a lot. Actually, you know what? Can I show you I can show you some other of the exteriors, even though we can't go there right now. Actually, can I just warp again? Chapter 4. This is Norman in his house. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Can I go this way? Wait. I'm just going to warp to the other rooms. Guidehouse. Okay. Oh. This one. Here's Norman's house. This one is something else. Another one of the backgrounds we finished on stream together. And I'm very pleased with how it turned out. It has got blue atmospheric perspective. It's got a nice little house with some nice little flowers. So that's one that is finished as well. Are there any other finished pieces I can show you guys? Let's see. Bluff, cafe, exterior, cafe, interior. I don't think there's any more finished backgrounds currently. There's only really 4 that are finished. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but there we are. That is a taste of the Deadly Bluff, which is another text parser mystery adventure game. And I'm really hoping to take what I learned from making the Crimson Diamond to make something that is going to be a nicer experience, like even easier to use, really. And I don't know if it's actually going to be Nancy. I know it looks like Nancy now, but you can tell that she doesn't really have a walk cycle right now. I don't really know if she will be Nancy. But the idea behind the story for this game is because the graphics are like a little less refined than the Crimson Diamond. I was kind of angling it as a prequel to the Crimson Diamond in that you are Nancy Maple, but Nancy Maple as a kid. And Nancy Maple as a kid going to the library in Toronto and getting this librarian to recommend a book to you. So you're sitting and reading a mystery adventure book in the library. And this story would be the mystery adventure story that Nancy's reading. And she may she may insert herself into the story. I don't even know if she's going to have the same clothing that she was wearing in the Crimson Diamond, because that feels kind of weird that she would be wearing exactly the same kind of outfit as she did as a child, you know. But the idea being is she's reading this story and then she's going to project herself into the story, and then she'll just play it out and everything. And maybe if she's having difficulty with the story, she can ask the librarian for hints or something. I don't really know how that's going to work yet. But the bulk of the story is completed. I am right now going through chapter 5 to figure out what's going to be happening in chapter 5. The game is going to be probably 6 or 7 chapters again, but they're much shorter chapters than the Crimson Diamond. It's just a much simpler game overall. But it's been really fun to do. And yeah, if you want to see me working on this game, come join me on Crimson Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. I mentioned earlier that for the Curious Odyssey Steam event, which is what this all is for, that's why I'm broadcasting on my Steam store page today, there will be an interview that I did for it that will be airing on this event page at 4:25 Eastern tomorrow. And it was an interview that I had with adventure.treff, which is a German site, although I don't speak German. Luckily for me, Jan, the interviewer, does speak English, so we had a lovely conversation in English talking about me making the Crimson Diamond and about the game as well. If you want to check that out, please do check it out. I will also say, if you're interested in any other the adventure games at all in the sale, please check them out. There's an incredible array of games that were curated by Revolution Software and Ash Games. Revolution Software, of course, are the makers of Broken Sword, so they know what they're talking about when it comes to making amazing adventure games. And Ash, of course, is the publisher of a bunch of different adventure games, including Francisco Gonzalez's Rosewater and his previous game, Lamplight City. So definitely check out all the games in the sale. The Crimson Diamond is 25% off right now, which is the lowest that it's ever been on sale for. I don't discount it very low, really, at all. And so it's not. I don't know how much lower it's going to be in the near future. So definitely, if you've not played it, please check it out. And if you have played the Crimson Diamond and you do enjoy it, please leave a review, like a thumbs up review. I'm really close to 600 reviews for the game, and it's currently sitting at 96% positive, overwhelmingly positive, with almost 600 reviews. Yeah, please, that super helps. If you want to help indie devs, definitely drop them, even if it's like a single word or just good, just one word or something, and then a thumbs up. It really does help. Anything else? We have 8 minutes left, so I wonder what else I can show or talk about. Next week, hold on, do I have anything to show? Oh, if there are people here that do come to Crimson Tuesdays, and do watch me do the Let's Play portion of that evening, I can say that I've become unstuck in Kurizawa Yukai Anai. I have pressed H, and I have dug where we were trying to dig in that game. And I'm so excited to do that next time you join me on Crimson Tuesdays. But beyond that, I don't often stream much on Steam, but it's kind of nice to do that sometimes, and hopefully some people have learned about this game that I'm making right now, and also of course the Crimson Diamonds, and enjoy the rest of your evening, I suppose. Well, I feel like obligated to wait for the 7 more minutes. So you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna tell you what we're gonna do with these last 5 to 7 minutes. I mentioned every week I play Double Dragon. I don't even know why I'm doing this right now. I play Double Dragon on stream. I'm gonna play out the rest of today. We're gonna play Double Dragon. For no reason. If anyone comes into the stream just now, they'll be like, why is Double Dragon on the screen? We're gonna play 5 minutes of Double Dragon, and then I'm gonna shut off this stream and put this on a rebroadcast. Okay? I don't know. That's just me. You can't stop me. We're gonna play Double Dragon. We have 6 minutes to play Double Dragon. The H key is the H key. The H key works as intended, actually. But I just had to basically repeat every step of a playthrough that I was watching. And I don't know why it works the way it works. Here we go. For anyone who is confused about this, let's tie this into Curious Odyssey. This is the Curious Odyssey of Billy and Jimmy Lee, who are saving one of their girlfriends. I don't know which one. And I'm much better at this game than I'm showing you right now, I promise. And if you're looking for a good port of this game, this is a good port of this game. And I love this game so much I do own the big box. Okay. I don't know what's wrong with me today. It was a day. It was a day and a half. Let's see how far I get. I can finish this game every single time I play it. We're not going to finish it tonight. I'm going to go. Oh, well, it doesn't really matter. I suppose I'm not going to play for much longer, but... Can you believe that I bought this game on eBay? The big box version with its 5 1/4 floppy disks for $30 American. What a steal. I can't believe it. There we go. I usually also, when I'm streaming this game, I take a lot of breaks. And now I'm just going to play this as fast as possible for the next 3 minutes. So see how far we get. Anyone's tuning in just now? I'm sorry. You probably have no idea why you're watching Double Dragon right now. I don't even have a good reason why you are, like at all. Like, search me, man. We had some time to kill. It's the first thing I thought of. I'm not affiliated with Double Dragon in any way. I'm not a Double Dragon. Let's just sit here quietly and enjoy Double Dragon together. Ooh, nice one. Go, Linda! That's the most shot you ever got on me. Oh, come now. I'm learning all kinds of things about this game. This guy's called Roper, I think, but because of localization issues, he's called Lopar sometimes. Or Williams or something. Alright. That's okay, we have continues. This game gives you 5 continues, which is more than generous. It's more than I need. I want to get a Bobo into the hole. A Bobo, go into the hole. A Bobo, go into the hole. A Bobo. Oh my gosh, he's shy. He doesn't want to go into the hole. You need to hit him into the hole, but he doesn't want to go. Fine. Oh, he got me into the hole. That serves me right. Okay. Alright, that's it. That's our time. We ceded our time to some Double Dragon. Let me just go, let me find my there we go. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me for this Curious Odyssey Steam event and indulging me in playing a little Double Dragon. I got it a little bit out of my system. And yeah, please, as I said, thank you to Ash Games and Revolution for including me in this wonderful event. Please check out the other games. Pick up the Crimson Diamond if you have not yet. Review it if you have not yet. And if you are interested in seeing me work on the Deadly Bluff, which is my next upcoming game, yeah, come check out _Maple Mystery on Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. And like I said, I will be rebroadcasting this, and that live note thingy, that will not say live anymore. That'll be crossed out, and then that will easily tell you that you cannot, in fact, ask me developer Q&A because I won't be here, but I will be circulating this. So please enjoy the rest of the event, and yeah, have a good weekend. All right, I'm gonna see if I can shut this down somehow. I will see you around, hopefully, and yeah.